All I can say is we witnessed a miracle. Y'all stay with me here a few minutes? Well, I've got a lot of questions that we need answers to. Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope everybody's having a good day. I hope you're staying cool anyway. That's what we're doing in the house right now. It's like 105 outside and I've had all I could take today. We've been at work and I've just come home to relax, and I just been looking through some of the news and rewatching some of the things that happened over the weekend at the Trump rally. And I guess I just got more questions than I have answers. And I just wanted somebody to discuss it with. Got to get it off my mind, I guess, is what you would say. What are we dealing with here? The Secret Service. That's supposed to be some of the best there is. And if that's the best they've got, I don't want them protecting anything that I care anything about. We'll talk about it later, but I don't know if it's the director, Kimberly Cheadle. I think she was one of these DEI hires where they just hire you because you fit what they need. I reckon her history is like the security at PepsiCo. She's helped secure a Pepsi Cola before, so that qualified her. But let's move on past that. We need to remember the folks that did get killed and badly wounded at that rally. That my heart goes out to them, and any prayers that we could send up for them, for the family to have some comfort. I mean, can you imagine? That would be awful to just be going there, showing your support for your candidate and not coming home from it. We need to send our thoughts and our prayers to that family. Getting back to the Secret Service, the SS. You know, Hitler, he had some SS too. What was they, stormtroopers or something? They were supposed to be his best. Well, if this is our best, we're in trouble. My thoughts are, I don't want to start no conspiracy or anything, and that's not what this is about. I'm just asking questions. Questions that needs to be answered. How can they let somebody with a long gun get within 130 yards of the president? According to Google Maps, I got a little picture here I'll try to put over here of what the scene kind of looked like. And according to the measurements on this map, it's 410 feet. And the best I can come up with, that's like 136 yards. And for a country boy that has grown up around firearms, that's not that much of a shot. 136 yard is fairly easy to do. I watched Glenn Beck interview Dallas Alexander, and some of y'all might be familiar with him. I reckon he holds the record for the longest shot as a sniper. I think it was a little over 2 miles. Now that shot, a country boy might have a hard time pulling that one off without a lot of practice. But 136 yard is not far. This deer right here that you can see, he was way over 136 yards. And I was off-handed shooting. I hit him 3 out of 4 of the shots. I would say that most folks with a 22, 136 yard, with open sights could hit milk jugs pretty consistent. Or at least the folks around here can. So that Dallas Alexander, he has been a sniper in the military, I think was his background. He sounded like he thought there had to be some neglect go on. And that's my opinion with it. At the time that I'd seen this, and they were thinking that they might have spotted the shooter 60 to 180 seconds before he got his shots off. But since then, I've watched other things that said that they laid their eyes on him up to 30 minutes before the shooting started. But they kept losing him. The building that he went up on was supposed to be the staging ground for the police to help secure the perimeter. And the Secret Service are not taking much responsibility. They're saying it was outside of their perimeter. If 130 yards is outside of your secure perimeter, I don't want you guarding me. It would be my advice to Donald Trump to get rid of the Secret Service and to hire him, if nothing else, some good old country boys to guard him. I'm telling you, country boys could have done a lot better job than what I seen done here. I mean, it was just a clear open path from this building to the president's podium, 136 yards. We witnessed a miracle, just getting his ear clipped. If that would have been just 1 inch over, it would have probably been a deadly shot. So I think we witnessed a miracle there. I don't know what plans God has in store for us, but for some reason, he kept him around that day. Well, I seen that Trump has announced his vice president pick, J.D. Vance, and he's a senator out of Ohio. Now, I don't know much about him. I've heard some people say good things about him, and then I've heard some say bad. I've heard more good than I have bad, though, so that's one good thing. I am looking into him more now since he's going to be the VP pick. And I don't by no means want to come off and sound like I think Trump is going to save the day. And I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. Trump is the best that we have to pick from. But in my thoughts, it's going to take you and me to save the country. It's going to take all of us to work together. One man is not going to save the country all on his own. We still have a heavy, heavy burden to carry. And we need to put God first in this struggle. I was talking about the struggle coming in a video here a few days ago. And I had somebody send me a remark and said, "What struggle?" I took it as being kind of smart, snidely smart. And I don't remember how I answered them in the comment. But the struggle that we have coming, just getting our country back and being as free Americans should be, is just one part of the struggle. There's many, many more things that, in my opinion, is going to be a struggle in the future. And getting prepared for it, putting back food, water, those are just a few things you need to do. And I seen a little bit more good news too come out. Elon Musk is going to be donating $45 million a month to help get Trump elected. And that's a little more good news, because nowadays and times, it takes boatloads of money for them to run as a candidate. And I don't know. I don't agree with all that, but that's the way it is. It costs them just boatloads of money to get ads and to get news time. And Elon's going to be donating $45 million a month for the Trump campaign. I was hearing about a report that came out on new regulations. 900 new regulations has been put in since Biden's been in office. And it's crushing small businesses. At this time, it's costed small businesses $440 billion. And that's just at this time. That will just keep growing and growing over time. So we've got to get the man out of there. Just from the debate the other day, he's either a real good actor or he's a real sick man. Either way, we don't need him there. He needs to be gone. I'm tired of riding with Biden. Back to the Trump shooting. I watched videos of just average Joe screaming and hollering at police, telling them that there's a shooter on the roof. There's a shooter on the roof. Now, I don't know how long that took place before before the actual shots started happening. But I did hear that there was a police officer climbed up on the roof, and the guy turned and pointed his weapon at him, and the police officer retreated back down. Now, I didn't hear any other what happened after that. People have said to me, well, what could he have done? Well, there's a few things he could have done, and what I think, he could have went back up the ladder with his weapon drawn, ready to fire, or he could have just fired in the air. Any weapon going off would immediately cause them to protect the president. So they were a few options he had that he could have done real quick. He just might not have been trained, and panic took over. Adrenaline will flow, and it messes up your thoughts. If you've never been shot at, you might not know. Now, I've never been in the service, but I have been shot at. I've heard the whiz of the bullets going by my head before, and I have been shot. But when I got shot, it wasn't on purpose. And I was lucky that it didn't hurt me real bad. I'm still carrying the lead around in my back from when I did get shot. But on 2 different occasions, I've heard the crack of a bullet whizzing by my head. And it's a bad, bad feeling. It's close whenever you can hear it zip by. And I'm assuming that Trump probably heard that. When he grabbed his ear and his reaction, it took him, the way it sounded to me, 2 or 3 shots before he ducked. So it was a miracle. A miracle is all I can say that it was. But moving forward from here, if it was some type of inside job, because there's lots of questions that I've even raised right here that needs answers. Why was a shooter allowed to get that close? And if it's so that they saw him 30 minutes ahead of time, why didn't they beef up the security on some of these areas that they wasn't guarding? There's lots of questions that can make you think that it might have been an inside job. Who knows? JFK, there's lots of talk about him, and I know my thoughts on it. We're not going to get into them here now, but I think the same bunch were guarding him then that's guarding Trump now. So if I was Trump and I could give him any advice, I'd advise him to hire some security. Some that answered to just him, that didn't answer to this Kimberly Cheadle. Now, I'm not saying she had anything to do with it, but I'm saying she needs to step down and take responsibility for the actions of the people under her. But instead, she's laid it off on local law enforcement and just neglect. She just passing. Biden said the buck stops here whenever he became president. And the buck hadn't stopped, period, since I've seen him become president. Him and all of his regime they just push it off on something else. It's always something else's fault. And the shooter, they said was like 20-year-old. And from what I've seen is they even saw him using a rangefinder from around this building. And they had anti-snipers set up inside the building, the latest that I've heard. But they wasn't on the roof because of safety reasons. That roof had a pitch on it like this. And they was afraid that they might fall off. So there's just lots of unanswered questions. If you are scared to get on the roof, you could put a man at 2 corners of the building and made sure that nobody did get onto the roof. It's simple. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it was outside of their security zone. And if 136 yards is outside of their security zone, they don't need to be protecting the president. So y'all keep prepping, keep doing what you can to get ready for the struggle we have coming. And I thank you for watching. I pray God blesses you, and I'll see you in the next one.